Let's keep going with our view components. There is not many left until we fully type all view components in our application. And the next component will be TimelineHour component. If we'll take a look in the browser, we will see that TimelineHour component is used inside TimelineItem component. And it is actually responsible for showing individual hours of the day. So as we can see, it's pretty simple component. And as it usually goes, we'll start typing this component from specifying types for props. This component accepts only one property with the name hour. Also, we were using validation function for this prop called isHourValid. Let's take a look at the definition of this function inside validators.ts module. In here, we were ensuring that the value of the hour should be a number, and at the same time, it should be the value from 0 to 23. So it should represent an hour of the day. But just because we're using TypeScript now, we don't have to use this validation function anymore, because if we're going to properly type the prop, we will get all necessary guarantees automatically. So I'm actually going to specify the type for the hour property as custom type called hour. This type does not exist yet. So now let's switch over to the file where we define all custom types. It is types.ts. And right here, I'm going to export the new type with the name of hour, which is going to represent all hours in a day. So basically, it is going to be a union of several numbers, starting from 0 and ending at 23. Now we can return to TimelineHour component and import this newly created type hour. As always, let's use keyword type while importing this type hour and reorder import statements. There is actually some other places where we can leverage newly created type hour. For example, if we'll go back inside types.ts, right here we have an interface called TimelineItem, and as for the hour property, currently we're using numeric type. So to be more specific, we can use our new type, which represents an hour. So now the value stored inside our property can only be the number from 0 until 23. Now we can go back to TimelineHour component, get rid of all commented code in here, and continue introducing TypeScript in this component. So the next thing we're gonna do is specify the type for the return value of this computed property. It will be array of strings. And as for this error, TypeScript complains that we are passing numeric value as a second argument inside pet_start function. But this function accepts either string or undefined as a second argument. So I'm basically going to convert this number into string. And now everything seems to be okay in this component. But we still can improve a couple of things inside TimelineItems.ts file. So right here, if we'll take a look at scroll to hour function, as the first argument, it accepts an hour, which is currently of numeric type. But to be more specific, let's use our new hour type. Right after this, we're getting an error inside another function scroll to current hour, and this error occurs because getHours method returns value of the type number. But we have actually specified that scroll to hour function as the first parameter should take value of type hour, since we are sure that getHours function is going to return the number from 0 to 23, which is completely compatible with our type. We can explicitly cast this type to hour like so. And now the error is gone. But there is also a similar error which exists inside the last function generate timeline items. In here, we are trying to assign value of the first argument of disclosure to the property hour of timeline item object. But just because first argument of numeric type, we have type mismatch, because our property is of actually our type. So in here, if we'll take a look at this expression, this actually generates array of numbers starting from 0 to 23. But in order to ensure that the closure of the method map is going to accept value of the type hour as the first parameter, we can cast this whole expression to array of hour elements. instead of array of numbers. For our case, it is going to work because an hour type is a subtype of a number type. And this way we have fixed all the TypeScript errors. Let's continue working on our project in the next lesson.